Strolling on the River, Memories of Moira River. This writer's memory of the Moira River spans 7 decades of playing and daydreaming along its banks. The spring torrents of cold icy water that crashed over the dams changed to a slow warm trickle of water and weeds in the late summer and fall. My friends and I spent countless hours swimming in the river before the new dams were built, and we knew every deep hole from the Front Street Bridge to Legier's Dam. Fishing and tubing were also a big part of growing up beside the river. Hunting fossils on the riverbed was a favorite pastime for my little brother and me. We spent our summers hunting for prehistoric brontosaurus bones, and all we found was fossilized coral. Catching pollywogs in the creek that ran into the river near Moira Street was another springtime favorite activity. We helped our parents wash their cars as they drove them right into the water beside Parkhurst Motors. It was a fun-filled, splash-happy time as kids, cars, and dogs all shared in the fun. A summer highlight was strolling down the middle of an almost dry riverbed in the late summer at the upper bridge. It seemed like the whole river had transformed into another world of quiet, reflective space. It was common to see people on lawn chairs gathered in groups watching canoes and kayaks quietly paddling along the river toward the Bay of Quinte. Our family enjoyed many Sunday picnics of KFC shared with tiny aunts on our red checkered tablecloths by the water at the Station Street Dam. Late afternoon outings often ended with a trip to the Dairy Queen and a visit to Victoria Park to watch the sailboats return from whatever magical places they had sailed to. One particular event stands out in my mind as an adult, and that's the rubber ducky races at the Dundas Street entrance to the Waterfront Trail. This memorable fundraiser for the Rotary Club of Belleville was a joint venture with the Telephone Pioneers. Purchased a ticket on a numbered duck, which you hoped would win the race by floating fastest down the mighty Moira River. Rotarian Bernie Olat reports,
"We had to tag every darn duck with a number that corresponded to the ticket number. After the race, we had to retrieve them, clean them, and pack them up to send them to the next racing event."
On launch day, the little yellow ducks were put into a dump truck. A plywood slide on the riverside was built, allowing for their release into the water. There was not enough water for the ducks to float, and someone reported this problem to the people in charge of the dam on the river. They suggested leaving the dam open a little bit longer, and the controller on the river said, "If I leave the dam open much longer, the fish will be flopping in the Moira River." The Elliott Foundation supported the event with a grant, and Mrs. Edith Elliott was on hand for the launch day. As volunteers prepared for the launch, one of their hydraulic hoses wrapped around her foot, but luckily she was caught before she was knocked to the ground. Bob Michaud Jr. and Jack Miller provided the play-by-play from the boat in the middle of the river. Wouldn't you know, on the day of the race there was a strong wind from the south, and the flock of competitors actually floated upstream. The Belleville Fire Department came to the rescue with their hoses, attempting to flush them downstream. I bought my lucky ticket and watched and cheered myself hoarse from the sidelines. My tiny contender floated sideways, got tangled in the weeds, turned upside down, and sadly sank out of sight. The first prize was a Suzuki Tracker won by Rotarian Jim Pine's son, Curtis, who was about 6 years old at the time. But the entertainment value of the event made us all feel like winners. Whether you walk, bike, or run along our fantastic waterfront trail, stop for a chance to enjoy the beauty of the Moira River, and have a look for my unlucky rubber ducky, who might still be tangled in its weedy depths.